Happy Blue Hour. It's a very noisy one, unfortunately. Hello everyone, welcome to the Watch Poplars. Today, I am going to get out of the stairwell of the basement, and I'm going to do something a lot more warm weather related. But, that is, as in like the plant. We are getting rain tomorrow, and I moved all of my succulents under the tarp, and that is important because they cannot spend the cold and dark months of the year in wet soil, otherwise they will rot, because most succulents would have evolved to live in dry areas where oftentimes the winters are dry. The conditions are not right to form storms and rain. But I have my scissors with me. Well, I was planning on pruning the tips off of the jades. They're very top heavy, but maybe at this time of year I think I should not prune the jades because they need, if the soil does end up getting too wet in here, I want them to be able to consume it. They need to consume the water and have as much foliage on during the winter. In the cold months where it's harder for them to photosynthesize and it's harder for them to stay dry. And especially if you live in a Mediterranean climate, which we do. And I recently learned that we have, oh god, the Diablitos tree service company is, doing their thing. But I wasn't really happy seeing the trees getting cut down on my walk to school. And yeah, I don't like hearing chainsaws, as I have said. There's a pup of Haworthia, and I don't know how that got there. It might have been from that video I made in, I don't know, like July, where I was repotting the Haworthia, and I don't know if this is one of them, but I repotted a few. I wanted to oh right, the scissors. I'm going to get the grass taken care of. And over there, I don't know, maybe I could have, the rain from the eave is not very wide in that portion right next to the sliding doors right here. It's not very wide, so there wasn't much cover from the rain. So here, it's guaranteed that the only watering that these will get is from me. And the cups I use to water them. I'll just get everything out off of the surface of the soil so I can clearly see where this daffodil grass is growing. And I hope I'm correct. I mean, it looks like daffodils. They are a bit blue. Those are daffodil grasses coming up. And there's some others. There's one blooming over there. I think it's daffodils. It looks like daffodils. And I don't know. They're juicy like that. Daffodil. So yeah, I don't know. One of the succulents did die, and it rotted. But it doesn't grow into a tree. I didn't really have high expectations for it. I didn't know what I could use it for, because I'm planning on doing bonsai and growing accent plants. But yeah, we had a high of I think like 54 degrees, which is Very nice. Much better from anywhere in the 60s. And because these have been growing in the shade mostly, they grew during the summer. They were growing under the camellia tree, behind the heater and the willow cutting. I don't know where I got these from. There's also cuttings. Are these currant cuttings that just happen to not root? In fact, they are rotting. Anyway. But yeah. Maybe they died because I kept them dry and I held priority over the crassula. In deserts, there's not a ton of organic matter. So I think it would be better off if I try to keep the duff to a minimum. And yeah, there's not a whole bunch of trees growing above crassula in nature because, I mean, you probably would get like these shrubs, like maybe a mesquite or acacia trees. The jades grow naturally in, I think, South Africa, Namibia, I believe, and other places near there. And they don't grow under oak trees where we live, and they don't grow near redwood trees, which would make the soil really acidic. But there's more than one cause. There's more than one thing that can make the soil acidic. I just don't know what that other thing is. If it's not the fallout of conifers. But yeah. That's why grass doesn't grow under those pine forests and fir forests of the Sierras or anywhere. Now, I don't know if the Podocarpus family, Podocarpaceae, I don't know if they have kind of this acidic chemical in their foliage, but I don't know. It's not native here. They grow mostly in the southern hemisphere, in Tasmania and Australia. So here, I'm now going to just cut these back. If I try pulling them out, they're very firmly in the ground. And I hope the soil doesn't have too many bits of rocks in it, because I don't want to damage my scissors. Yeah, that would uproot it. Very firmly attached. During the summer, I'm going to repot these succulents. You do not want to repot a succulent during the winter and leave it weakened from the repot and saturated with moisture from the rain. If you live in a climate that does not have dry winters, you should not repot succulents when it is cold and wet. Not only are they happier when it's warm and dry, but that's when they do their best. As in, like, taking up water. And these are not growing right now. They stopped growing maybe in like November. And I think they start growing in like, well, I'll find out, maybe April? I'm not sure. At least in our climate. But they do like to be repotted in the hottest and driest time of the year. Because that is, yeah, that's the conditions that make them the most happy. Now, there's a pot in here. Can I like, I don't know how to get it out, but there's another, oh, I can kind of get it. I will put the phone down. Okay, they're very flimsy and they want to fall over. So I'm gonna try to see what I can do. There's a wire that I'm using temporarily to find, I find a rock that can keep the soil all together or something. Something to keep them from falling over. So I'll find a rock to put at the base of the soil, and I'll test that. See if when I pushed it down, will it make them want to kind of go back upright a little bit. I don't want them to be totally just like falling over like this, because that's not very good for them. Succulents like this don't have much of a root system. Yeah, I don't know, that doesn't really work, so I'll have to stick something in the soil that will keep them upright until summer when I repot these. Maybe there are some rocks that I can use. And I could use those rocks, and then, well, maybe that would stabilize the roots a little bit. I don't know. But maybe I can use the bamboo sticks. That make a wall for them to just lean against, because I don't know what else to do. Maybe I put them in here so that they can lean against it. So that actually seems quite reasonable. So that is what I'll do. I'll just let it sit in there and just let them rest and lean against it. So I'll also put this pup in here, this Haworthia pup. It is also getting dark. I can't pull out the daffodils. They're kind of like a bulb-ish kind of flower. So I'm going to save the next work on these when the weather gets a bit more summery. Other than that, I did pot up this stonecrop. It's a jade, just like this. You can see that leaf arrangement's like that. It is also the same here, and you can see the kind of opposite habit of growth, but they're just way more slender leaves and they're a lot closer together. But this does grow into somewhat of like a shrub, I believe, and if I keep it ramified and thick, it will stand upright and not topple over. And right now I don't have to worry so much about it toppling over because it's quite firm in the pot. But I put it in this very fast draining soil that dries out very quickly, so that is good. I'll keep it in the sun. I don't know, maybe I'll have to smash a rock to put these in, but these will replace my other jade that is just barely clinging on. But yes, a bit of succulents. Yeah, I stayed home from office hours quite late, so there is no time for me to repot anything, and there usually isn't on school days. But yeah, there is the Chinese pistache. The English ivy, I think it has turned purple. It has turned more purple, and there's barely any light for you to see. But I also repotted a bunch of these spurges, and then today I collected some cotoneaster seeds and I planted them in here. And then another thing, I collected a bunch of moss, and I'm keeping it protected from the birds that might want to peck at it or something. That's all for today. Thanks for joining me here among the watch poplars.